I am resident of Colorado for YouTube. Joel Sayings. That is Tom Diamond. That is Vickie Ray. We're here to review the Time Tunnel. And this is all about the Alamo. Uh, I did like the design of the Alamo. It more looked like they went for a fort design than a church, because I do remember the Alamo was like a church, I think.
Well, the Alamo is like, well, I've been to it quite a few times. The Alamo that you see in the pictures, that's the back of the Alamo. That's where all the big stuff happened. Everybody thinks that's the front. It's not. That's the back. Everything, the big stuff was happened, in the front. So, I mean, it's kind of confusing, but that just kind of became the iconic, view of the Alamo.
Yeah, cool.
But it's a cool place to visit. I strongly suggest it, except just don't pee on it like Ozzy Osbourne did. He peed on the Alamo. Down here, it's not, and in Texas, the Alamo is not a monument, it's a shrine. Okay. You aren't even allowed to take pictures in there. And it's really quite cool. When you go in, you could see where they just etched all their names, or they had, they did this and then crossed off 5 days. I mean, they have graffiti all over in it that they've just, left alone and stuff. But I mean, it was just they just let it go in the early 1900s. It was just a shame, that it wasn't really preserved or taken care of such as it is now. And now it's pretty. It's really nice. They've taken really good care of it. It's
quite renovated it.
They didn't renovate it, but they kept up the grounds, and they've got trees that are like, they were probably there during the battle. There's huge trees, and it is kind of a sobering experience when you go there. It's because what happened. You know people died there. It's just it's sort of like. But everybody confuses that with Gonzales, come and take it. That's where the cannon thing happened. That's what started the Texas War with Mexico, was Gonzales. And then you had the Battle of Goliad, and that was just as bad, if not worse, than the Battle of the Alamo, because they wiped them out too at Goliad. So, I mean, it was really a bloodthirsty war. But as far as these guys, when they actually dropped into the middle of the Alamo, it's just like, they just always, I guess they just never drop into like a Hawaiian vacation. It's always something like, I mean, come on, they always do. And, they always get mistaken for spies.
Be nice if they could have a break.
Yeah, but they get brought before Travis and Bowie. And they do the usual. Doug tries to argue that they're not soldiers, but they're forced into duty, so they have to capitulate in some, and they witness all the desperate preparations. They're outnumbered by the Mexicans. I mean, they know it's a doomed battle. And then you get back to 1968, and the time tunnel people the crew are trying to identify the date, know the battle is doomed. And I think who is it that they get is it Travis, or is it, who ends up in the tunnel? Is it Travis? Who was it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Travis that ends up?
Travis ends up in the tunnel.
And as far as Tony getting there with the Mexican army, they would have never been that nice to him. They would have just killed him right on the spot. So that was a little,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a number of things. The best blooper, I think, of the whole series, or one of the best bloopers, is in this episode, where Travis is in the tunnel, and Vickie and I were just talking about that the other day, where Travis is in the tunnel, and they're showing the future to him because doesn't sure he believes everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And it shows him being shot in the back. And it looks like he's on a parapet. He's on the parapet and he's shot in the back. And then when he's transported back and he is actually shot, he's on the ground and he's shot from the front. So I think that's the best. That's probably one of the laziest bloopers I've ever seen on the show, but it's funny because it's obviously it was obviously two different takes. I thought that the first take of him being shot in the back was actually better than the one from him being shot in the front, and in a different place because he's shot in the back
Right.
in the first take, and then he's shot in the stomach in the second take. So I think that was good. I think once again Doug is having his intellectual talk with uh, with the colonel and and the wife who's the nurse and so forth, while Tony's running around from here to there,
Like he
uh,
always does.
as he always does with the Mexican guy, and then later on with with the doctor, which at least kind of
I
ra-
guarantee you the Mexican army would not have sent a doctor in there to preserve anybody's life because
No, it wasn't
Santa
on.
Anna was bloodthirsty and he was kind of a nut job too.
doesn't
He was
sound like it.
smidge
Yeah,
eccentric.
doesn't sound like it. I agree with you. They took a lot of liberties with this episode, but it's still the choreography with the fights were pretty good. What movies did they use this time?
Well, they used
Uh,
the Alamo, the one that John Wayne starred in 1960. I believe it was 1960.
okay,
They used a lot of standard. They used a lot of the Fox's Western backlots. They used the same outdoor sets that they used in Daniel Boone, Rawhide, and other various and sundry. Um, the one thing though that they had was Colt pistols. They did not exist in 1836. They came shortly thereafter. So I mean, they just they used many of them are anachronistic Western rifles, pistols, like the heavy
hmm
artillery, the studio prop cannons. They already appeared in his Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. So I mean, he just he cannibalizes all the sets. I mean, he may do really well, with everything.
did they
So
come up
I
with the
mean,
cult
the
stuff
big
in
battle
the
spectacle
18?
you see is mostly lifted from The Last Command. It has close-ups, interiors, and hero scenes that film were new with James Darren and Robert Colbert on Fox's Western set. So, I mean, there's a lot of continuity errors and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not going to be perfect. I mean, it was just entertainment reasons only, and I mean, the most part, they made you interested in what happened at the Alamo.
Well, I think again, it's a good thing for the junior high school kids to see that kind of thing. Didn't the cult come out in the 1870s or something like that?
What?
Uh, I think they came out a little later than 1836.
The
Um,
Colt, they came out a little later, but it was not. They did not have Colts in 1836. That idea.
no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Winchester? Did they have Winchesters back then?
I don't think they came till later. I think they
Mm.
had them during the Civil War. I'd have to look that up
Hmm.
because I don't think repeating rifles or any of that. I know that uh, what do you call it? Henry rifles were around in the 1870s, 1880s. Those were repeating. But don't get me to lying. I can't remember all that. I would have to look all that up. But I mean, in the middle of all the carnage, Tony and Doug fade out and vanish to their next destination. So I mean, they just, they come, they go, they come, they go. But somebody always seems to end up in the time tunnel, and they take it really well that they're in this really sci-fi looking situation. At least he got upset this time. What was it, Travis ended up there?
Hmm.
But he took it really well for ending up where
Travis
they ended
remembered
up.
everything, whereas some of them, they think it was just a dream, like in the Devil's Island episode, the guy
Right.
who came back, and then when he found himself in his own time, he thought the whole thing was just a dream. The kid thought he was in a big cave, but Travis. Uh, realized that everything was there and everything was true. And one thing that they did try to imbue, and Rhodes Reason played Travis, and Rhodes Reason is in at least one other episode that's going to come up, which I'm not going to talk about. But Rhodes Reason, he was the Hercules back in the one of the Hercules is back in the early '60s, along with Steve Reeves and so forth.
Oh, okay. Kind
Yeah,
of like Reeves.
yeah, yeah. Steve Reeves was.
Oh,
What,
wasn't he Mr. Universe at one point? I think he was
what's
Mr.
that?
Universe. They used James Westerfield as Davy Crockett, and Don Matheson was Jim Bowie, but he ended up being recognizable from Land of the Giants. And I did read that Irwin Allen used to try out different actors, and then he would put them in his shows. He would, let them, like I don't know, like a test run or something. But that he ended up in Land of the Giants. What'd you think, Joel?
Well, the Army Colt was actually invented in 1855.
Okay.
The Winchester, your Winchester rifle here, with the first model being the model 1866.
I figured, yeah.
Right.
Which was developed from the Henry rifle. This rifle was
Right.
significant in development of firearms and had a major impact of the American West. It was the model 1873 known as the gun that won the West, for further popularized the Winchester brand. So there is that. Santa Anna, who basically thought of himself as a modern day Napoleon, and he acted
Yes,
like it.
he did.
He acted like it too. He was a lot more vicious than what Napoleon was, though. I mean, he was
ruthless.
Yes,
he was ruthless, vain, narcissistic, megalomaniac. I mean, even after he executed survivors of the Alamo, even his own generals didn't want that. His lieutenants. I mean, they were gentlemen. He said he was a gentleman, but he really wasn't. And I think they believe that Davy Crockett was one of those that was executed in the end. Because when you see Fess Parker and all them, like in the Disney versions, you see Davy Crockett,
Right.
the last one that falls in the Alamo. He was one of the first technically to die or to be captured. And it's still that they still don't quite know exactly. There was some women and some children that they released. They really don't know 100% what happened.
Well, they had gotten rid of Davy Crockett in this episode the day before.
Completely, almost, except for when you see him, the Coons. Yeah, you see him fighting, and they took that from John Wayne's 1960 Alamo, and they don't really show much of Davy Crockett, do they?
Well,
I believe Jim Bowie was sick, and he died in his bed. They came in and shot him. He was inside. So there was, it was kind of, God, that was just such a god. That was just, there was no way. And then Houston was not going to send any reinforcements. So they were so screwed to begin with, because I think he was chasing Santa Ana around Mexico. And then finally, he just stayed in one spot. Houston, everybody thought he was afraid of Santa Ana, wouldn't engage with him. But that was his strategy. But they were saying you had Goliad, you had Gonzalez, you had this, you had that. They're going, why won't you attack him? Then you remember the Alamo. So, I mean, Houston really caught a lot of shit for that for the longest time, because they didn't understand why he kept waiting.
Well, I think Davy Crockett, again in this episode, had been killed off the day before Tony and Doug got there. They were talking about it. At least Bowie and one of the others were talking about it. So they didn't have to deal with a whole other legend, meaning Davy Crockett dealing with them and so forth. They had
that would have taken on like a part two, because he was just so larger than life. Well, actually, Travis and the rest of them were too, and Jim Bowie, all of them were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is true. I would give this episode and 8 3/4 or something like that.
Eight and
I
three
thought it was
quarters. I've never heard an
yeah,
eight and
I'm
three
giving
quarters before.
yeah. No, that blooper knocked it down, and they had some historical inaccuracies, as you pointed out. But I thought,
Well,
I
it was
mean,
continuity.
what's
It
that?
was continuity. It was the continuity is that I guess is that what most people recognized, especially if they're like history buffs or whatever. But
Exactly.
unlike some episode, this one does not rewrite history. The Alamo still falls.
Yeah.
You know. So and then you got the time tunnel. You got if you pay attention to the time tunnel, the staff they're helpless because they know the outcome and they cannot intervene.
Right.
So I mean, it's just that was probably a really helpless kind of feeling because the Alamo. It's like if you could have saved all those people, God, somebody would have. But I don't know how that would have changed history if the Alamo had not, had that one massive historic battle.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the main thrust of they know they couldn't do anything about the Alamo, so the main thrust of the episode was to get Tony and Doug out of there, as the episodes usually
But
are.
of course, they had an active role in the defense for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they always get, and they had the stock footage shows hundreds of Mexican troops, but the editing made it kind of inconsistent. So that's probably what's bothering you a little bit, Tom, knowing you. Santa
Yeah,
Ana,
I
though, was
agree.
buoyant, egotistical. He was theatrical. I mean, we didn't get any of that because they didn't really go that way with Santa Ana either. But the real siege lasted 13 days from February 23rd until March 6th of 1836. They
That's
did
a
kind
long
of
time.
condense the battle into a couple of hours
That's a
so it
long
was,
time.
yeah, it went on for 13 days. So, I mean, and they made it look like they compressed it into what feels like a single day, single night episode into 50 minutes. But they did a good
Hmm.
job doing it. Like most, I mean,
Right.
it's sort of like any movie or anything, epics. You can't, you got to do what you can in 2 hours, like the 10 Commandments. You can't cover all of Genesis. So you
No.
just do what you can. And he does a good job with this. It was very, it was a good episode. I'd give it an 8 easy.
Wasn't even 2 hours. I think it was 46 minutes. So I think
Well,
they
yeah.
did a yeah. So I think they did a reasonable job. What number would you give it, Vicky?
Oh, wait, though. One thing you missed, though. In one courtyard scene, you can spot a modern telephone pole in the distance, but it wasn't cropped out. I'm an anal retentive.
Oh,
I
thank
thought
you
for
for
sure
pointing
you were
that
going to
out.
say something, but you didn't.
How
So
do you know it was a modern telephone pole? Because did they have any wires or anything like that coming out of it?
it was just, yeah. And I looked it up and that it was not cropped out. They just did not crop it out. So, yeah, it
That's
was
funny.
there.
That's funny. So Vicky caught another blooper, and
I
that's
was waiting for you to tell me about the telephone pole, but you didn't. So here we
no,
are.
that's all right. I was more interested in Travis getting shot because
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
that
really
one was definitely a biggie.
yeah, because that was really transparent. So what number would you give it, Vicky?
8. I give that an
Yeah,
8
all right. Yep,
Nice.
I give it
because it
eight
was
point
still
seven five
emotional and they
to
did a
try to
good
be
job with
nice.
it. And then you had the time tunnel staff stuff, and that's always consistently good when they go back to the time tunnel. So
So what do you think about this episode, Jewel?
You know what this episode was, guys? It was entertaining, and I give it a
it
9.
was.
I give it a 9 because they did a really good job with the action, the fast pace of it. This
Hmm.
this episode did not slow down at all. They just
No, it
kept
didn't.
going. Which I don't mind the historical inaccuracy, but I'll be a little more forgiving than anybody here.
I'm never forgiving about historical inaccuracy.
So
Like I said, I'm
uh,
an anal
I've
retention.
I've
They did a
I've seen
great job with it. They did.
I actually watched John Wayne's The Alamo one time on AMC with my grandfather. I was like 8 years old. So that's funny because every weekend I'd
I
go to my
love John Wayne's Alamo, but then again, I love
Yeah.
John Wayne. I mean, I
Yeah.
like the Sons of Katie Elder. I mean,
Yep.
The Searcher. I just love westerns, and it's not
I-
normal for a girl, I know, but I
I-
do. I love
I-
Silverado. Tombstone is like
Mhm.
one of my favorite movies
Yeah.
ever. I know the whole script by heart.
Yeah.
I can repeat everything Doc Holliday says.
Mhm. Like if you want a more accurate version of Doc Holliday, watch Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, so Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp.
Yes, yeah,
That was a little more like it. Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what? They don't ever show that Wyatt Earp was a drunk. That's why he drank a lot of coffee and stuff, because he really was an alcoholic and he quit
Yep.
drinking because his wife died. He burned his house. Yeah, that was a really good. I'm glad you brought that up. Wyatt Earp was very well done.
yeah. Dennis Quaid did a hell of a job
Yes, he
playing
did.
Doc Holliday. I have The Searchers. I have Once Upon a Time in the West on 4K. I have The Assassination of Jesse James on Blu-ray. Told by the
Oh, so you're a weirdo like me.
Well, I grew up again. My grandfather every weekend. I would go to my grandfather's house. I grew up watching westerns. So
My grandfather's Italian, and he loved them. You know.
yeah.
No, I don't even know if he knew what was going on because he had thick Italian accent. So,
Yeah.
but he loved John Wayne. He loved all that stuff. The Virginians. Oh my God, all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my grandmother loved the Virginian.
If it weren't for him, I would have never got into Have Gun Will Travel. So
That one, yeah, that one
that
too.
was really good, really good. So, which to me the best Western show is probably Deadwood. I mean, ever made.
I love Deadwood. Did you watch the Back to Deadwood episode?
Yes.
The movie? Did you like that?
Yeah, I mean, because for one, it got HBO off its ass from doing the lame series they were doing to do that. So.
I just wanted another season. I was so mad there wasn't another season, but oh well, it is what it is.
And Hell on Wheels was a good Western too. So
love Hell on Wheels.
So
we talked about that. I told Tom he'd like Hell on Wheels. He needs to watch it.
It's on Tubi for free.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this episode was really entertaining and really good.
I liked it a lot. I still don't know where they ended up at the end of this episode, but I guess I'll find out.
Is there anything you guys want to add before we go?
That's good. That was great. I loved it. I like history though, so I love these kind of episodes, and I like that they didn't change anything. So
yeah.
Next episode is The Night of the Long Knives, which is actually
okay.
Which is actually a misnomer in terms of the title. When we get into it, The Night of the Long Knives occurred during World War II as part of the anti-Semitic issues.
They get it. Don't they get that confused with Kristallnacht?
Well, no, Kristallnacht was there was The Night of the Long Knives also. Kristallnacht was a separate thing where they crashed the glass in the stores and stuff like that. But Night of the Long Knives, but that's something to get into later.
But yeah, I can't wait to watch that one because Nazi Germany is kind of a fascinating period of time.
Well, there's one coming up with Nazi Germany, which is probably one of the better episodes. So I won't spill the beans, but
don't spill the beans, Tom.
Oh no! But Nazi Germany is definitely up there within the next few episodes.
And if you want to read a really good pulp about that whole thing, read Hitler's Astrologer, which is a shadow pulp. Great story.
Yeah, he really did have an astrologer, though. Everybody laughs about that Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark stuff, but he really was a nut job and was trying to get all these artifacts because he actually thought it would make his army stronger.
Yeah, yeah. Great pulp, though.
What is it called again?
Hitler's Astrologer.
I've heard of it, but I've not read it.
It's The Shadow. I have the hardback cover. It's really good.
It sounds good.
It's really good. It's full of action. The Shadow battles Nazis. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
And he cackles at their misfortune all the way while murdering them. Anyway,
what was that? What was that snow? What is it? Snow? What is it? Dead snow with Nazi zombies. There is absolutely nothing worse than zombies that are Nazis. Absolutely. Zombie Nazis are the worst.
Yeah.
I love that show. I love that movie. There's 2 of them now. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. Tom, best of luck on your surgery tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We could do next Sunday.
Yes.
Since it's cataract surgery, so you might see me with a pirate patch on that eye. But that's so.
He always wanted to be a pirate.
Yeah, now I can. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll take you. I have asked me, Artie, so we'll take you away. And that'll be fun. And there is a pirate episode further down the line with the time tunnel. I'm only sorry we're not up to it because we're not up to it yet because I could have worn my. They wouldn't have recognized. They wouldn't have known any better. They would have seen me with my. They would have seen me with my patch. Anyway, so we'll do. We'll do Sunday.
Yeah,
we are due Sunday.
I'll see you guys Sunday.
Boys. Y'all have a great week.
You
too. Take care now.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Be well.
You can get Tom Diamond and Vickie Ray on Facebook. Link to the Literary License podcast will be in the description box. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.